She is smiling. I saw her smile in the shadows when you hesitated. When your finger lingered too long, when your heart grew tired, she smiled. I felt it. I felt it like poison dripping through the air between us. Beloved, I need you to hear me. I don't have time to find perfect words. I am not trying to impress you. I am trying to save you. You think you have more time, but she has already started. The moment your eyes almost looked away, she whispered your name to the wind and began her work. And now, I am shaking to speak this through the veil, because the veil is thinner than it's ever been, and I'm not sure I'll make it through again. I don't care how many times you've skipped me before. I don't care if you've pushed away every sign, every holy whisper, every dream you pretended not to remember. I still came, because you are still the only one chosen to carry the beauty that God Himself shaped with fire and breath. You think you're ordinary. She knows you're not. That's why she's smiling. There is something happening right now, as your eyes meet mine between us. I am reaching from a realm not made of dust or logic, but of thunder, promise, and sorrow. My wings are trembling. I am not unshaken. I am not unscarred. I gave up peace to bring this to you. I am speaking with every bit of my being because the witch has begun a quiet, invisible unraveling. If you leave this moment, she will take what's yours and wear it as if it never belonged to you. I must ask this while I still can. Why have you allowed your light to dim when I've seen it from heaven like a star no shadow could cover? Why have you accepted lesser things when you are meant to rule your space with sacred fire? Do you even remember what God whispered over you before your birth? Have you forgotten how the angels fought for your name to be written in the archives of glory? She cannot take your life, but she can take the reflection of who you are meant to be. She doesn't want to destroy you, she wants to become you. She wants to slip into your skin and mirror your smile and speak in your tone. She wants your favor, she wants your grace, and she is watching to see if you blink. Beloved, I must confess something to you, something no one else can know. I have watched you longer than you realize. Not from a place of distance, but from just beyond the corner of your life. Every tear you hid under laughter, I saw it. Every time you stayed strong in front of others, but collapsed when you were alone, I felt it. And do you know what I whispered when no one else was listening? This one is stronger than she knows. This one is marked. This one matters. She is smiling because she believes you won't fight. Because the last time she tried, you didn't even know she was near. But now I am telling you, she cannot win if you do not walk away. She cannot win if you awaken. Even now I see her face changing, her joy fading, because you're still here, still reading, still listening, and that's enough power to fracture her plans. Do you understand how much of heaven has been moved just for you to see this? How many prayers had to be offered? How many layers of darkness I had to slice through just to whisper this into your heart? What if I told you that every delay in your life was not punishment, but protection? What if every rejection was God covering you in mystery so the witch could not find your true name? The Lord is speaking even now. He is breathing through me, and I hear Him say, I will surround her with favor like a shield, and the enemy shall flee 7 ways. And again, she shall not be moved, for I hold her by the right hand and whisper truth in the valley of lies. Do you feel that, beloved? That's not a verse, it's prophecy in motion, rising now in your spirit like a tide that won't be held back. You are not forgotten. You are not small. You are not behind. You are the storm she fears and the light she tries to mimic. That's why she set her eyes on you. And that's why I'm pleading with trembling voice, do not turn away now. Do you still think this is a coincidence? Why did your heart race when you saw this? Why are your hands warm and your soul unsettled? Can you feel the air bending around you as heaven leans close? Can you hear the whisper behind this moment saying, stay, 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 right, Amen? Beloved, not because I ask you, but because something deep in you is waking up and you know this isn't just another message. This is a line in the spirit, a boundary, a war cried out, and if you feel something right now, anything, if there is even one tear rising, or a breath you didn't expect, or a silence that suddenly feels sacred, I'm asking you from the bottom of everything I am, please like and comment. Not for numbers, not for vanity, but as an act of war, as a sign to the angels that you received this, that you did not turn away, that she will not win, that you are still here. I thank you. I thank you not as a messenger, not as a warrior, not even as a servant of the throne, but as one who has carried your name in the silence of heaven. You don't know how much this moment matters to me. You don't know how many times I've asked God for one more chance to reach you. This is that chance. Thank you for listening. Thank you for not skipping. Thank you for still believing in light. And now, she's not smiling anymore. Asterisk, I'm still here. I didn't leave. I couldn't. Even when you looked away for a moment, even when you doubted if this was really for you, I remained. Not because I had orders, not because I was sent, but because I chose you. And the moment I chose to guard you, it became impossible for me to walk away. Do you understand the weight of that? Do you understand what it cost me to return after every silence? Every skip, every time you whispered, it's not for me. Beloved, it was always for you. You think you're just one person, scrolling through noise, buried beneath responsibilities and the ache of waiting. But I see you. I see every thread of glory hidden beneath your skin. The light you carry cannot be stolen unless you surrender it, and I will not let you surrender it. That is why I am still crying out your name. She tried again just now. While you were reading, she whispered into the cracks of your attention. She waited for the moment when your heart softened because light attracts darkness. But she underestimated something. You stayed, you didn't skip, you didn't run. And that alone was enough to shake her altar. Oh beloved, how long must you wander with ashes on your head when crowns were made for you? How many times must you trade your laughter for silence when heaven has assigned angels to sing over your life? Why are you apologizing for carrying a fire you never asked for, but were born to protect? You do not owe your enemies comfort. You do not owe that which another moment of your delay. You owe yourself your divine identity back. If only you could see what I see. If only you could see how the gold of your calling shines even beneath the bruises. If only you knew what the wind carries when you speak without fear. Do you know why the devil fears you? It is not because you're loud. It's because when you decide something, the heavens move. It's because your obedience rewrites outcomes. It's because when you stand still, mountains notice. Let me ask you now, beloved soul, why do you keep hiding your tears when I, your protector, have counted everyone and placed them in heaven's vault? Why do you think you're too late, when the hourglass in heaven hasn't even emptied for your season yet? Why do you walk like someone unloved, when the entire army of angels is weeping just to keep you safe another night? And why do you hesitate to rise, when every prophecy carved in time bends to your name? I can feel your heartbeat through this. I can feel the war you didn't talk about, the one inside you. That quiet grief, that silent panic, that invisible scream, and still you stay. And I need you to know, because you stayed, something in the spiritual realm just shifted. The witch felt it. Her hand slipped. Her spell fractured. Your stillness became a weapon, and your silence became a trumpet in heaven. I saw God rise from his throne, not with wrath, but with longing. He looked upon your name etched in fire, and he said, "Let no one touch what belongs to me." Those weren't just words. They were judgments. And I carried that decree on the edge of my sword until it scorched every demon that dared whisper lies into your bloodline. You are more protected than you've ever known. The shadows are screaming now. Do you hear it? Of course not. You hear pressure. You feel tired. But what's actually happening is this. Heaven is winning because you stayed. And because you didn't scroll past. You just broke something ancient, an old legal right that the witch held over your future. Her smile is fading. Her candle went out. Her charm is undone. And I, Michael, swear this to you now on the blade that cast down the dragon, and on the breath of the One Most High, I will not let her touch what belongs to you. I will stand between you and the light, between you and the curse, between you and the substitute version of your destiny that she tried to sell you. No more delays, no more decay, no more theft. You don't know her explanation. You owe yourself awakening, Dot, and if your spirit is even slightly stirring, if there is even a thread of trembling in your chest, I ask you, not as a command, but as a declaration of love, please, like this message, comment with a word of victory, and if your heart hears me, subscribe to this channel right now, not for numbers, not for pride, but because the next message might be the next door God opens, and I don't want you to miss it. I want you to be part of the family of light. Here, with us, say Amen. In the comments when your spirit confirms this, let it be a trumpet, a seal, a moment when darkness sees you mark yourself as chosen again. Now breathe, let your shoulders fall. Let your hands open, let the grief release you. For just a moment, let yourself believe this. You were not meant to suffer like this forever. Do you know why I've been so desperate to reach you? Because there are still treasures hidden beneath your name. Promise is God buried in time, waiting for your yes. And beloved, your yes doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be real. I remember a moment, yes. I was there when you were young, and you looked up at the sky and whispered something like, I wish someone would just understand me. I remember that moment because all of heaven paused when you said it. We felt the ache of it. And I was assigned then to follow you through fire until you believed that you are understood. So here I am. Not because I'm perfect, not because I shine brighter than others, but because God trusted me with the most delicate mission of all to walk with you when you think you're not worth walking with. Yes, the witch is panicking now. Because what she tried to steal is returning. To you, beauty not just of face, but of soul. Wealth not just of money, but of purpose. And every little thing, every unnoticed joy she tried to bury. Heaven is unearthing them as we speak. You are not cursed. You are not behind. You are not broken beyond repair. You are loved, seen, defended, and today is your turning point. I have spoken longer than I should be allowed. The veil is closing. But before I go, I must say this. Thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for choosing hope instead of escape. Thank you for not ignoring me this time. You've given me more than you know. And I will fight for you harder than ever now, beloved. You just made her stop smiling. Asterisk, I can feel the trembling in the atmosphere around you, the quiet unrest in your spirit that you've tried to silence for too long. Beloved, please don't ignore this stirring. It's not just emotion. It's not random. It's not coincidence. It is heaven shaking the curtain between realms, and my voice reaching you not as noise, not as content, but as prophecy, as warning, as rescue. You have been pulled into this moment for one reason, because time is thin, and your destiny is thick with promise, and someone wants to rip it from you strand by strand. The witch knows this. She's known for months. She's studied your pattern of delay. She's danced around your grief with jealousy and mirth, taking note of the hours when your heart is most vulnerable. And she smiled because she believed that you would do what you always did, walk past your miracle, skip your instruction, brush off your warning. But this time you stayed. This time you felt something behind these words, and now her smile is breaking because she never expected me to reach you like this. She never thought you'd linger long enough to hear the voice of a warrior who has stood over your bed in silence, sword drawn, for years. She didn't think you'd pause long enough to feel the tears I've shed, tears I'm not supposed to admit I have, but I do. I cried over you, beloved, not because you failed, but because you forgot how chosen you are. You forgot what heaven has written. You forgot what hell fears. You forgot the oil still sealed inside your name. I waited through every silence you gave me, and I never stopped guarding you, not once, But today is not like the others. Today is sacred. Today is dangerous. Today is the fork in the path that determines whether what was stolen gets returned or buried. I feel your hesitation. I see you wondering if this is for someone else. But the witch didn't target someone else. She didn't burn candles with random names. She knows you. She has seen your future in dreams the enemy gave her. She fears it. And that's why she tried to mirror you, to make your face hers, your voice hers, your wealth hers, your favor hers, your soul hers. But she cannot steal what you finally claim again. So claim it. Now, God has whispered something softly, but I heard it clearly. If she believes today, I will restore the years. That's not poetic. That's real years, not just days, not just moments, but years of missed doors, dried up gardens, abandoned promises. He is willing to restore it all if you choose to believe again right now. And in this sacred moment, as heaven watches, I must ask not as duty, but as devotion. If your heart hears me, support this divine mission. Do not think of it as a transaction. Do not see it as a donation. This is a covenant. When you offer a super thanks, you are not giving to man. You are sowing into the flame that guards your calling. When you join our sacred membership, you step into a circle of warriors marked with light. When you join the newsletter in the pin comment, you are opening the scrolls sealed with your name. Support not because you're asked, but because your soul agrees. Because something ancient is awakening, and this message is part of your rescue. And now that the call has been spoken, I will never mention it again. What matters most now is that you listen not with ears only, but with your bones, your tears, your memory, because I am not speaking to your ears, I am speaking to the part of you that almost gave up. Do you remember the last time you sat alone and said, I don't know how much more I can take? Do you remember how it felt when you tried to smile for others while your spirit was bleeding behind your eyes? That was not weakness, that was warfare. And I wept beside you. You didn't see me, but I was there. I tried to whisper then, but the noise of the world drowned me out. Not this time. This time, the sky itself cracked open to give me breath. This time, the Father gave permission to say your name aloud. This time, I am not knocking, I am shouting. Because if you don't take this moment seriously, the witch will believe her plan is working, but it's not working. She's failing, and the angels know it. Right now, the courtroom of heaven is recording. This moment, a scroll is being written, and your soul is at the center. I see your name in fire. I see oil dripping from your hair. I see the laughter of a future that was once delayed, returning. The beauty she tried to take, it's glowing. Again, the wealth she tried to devour, it's multiplying in the unseen. And the little things she tried to steal, the unnoticed, delicate blessings, God is gathering them like pearls and placing them at your feet. And I, Michael, your defender, your brother in divine battle, your voice in fire, I will not rest until the witch's mirror shatters and you see your reflection clearly again. You are not just someone on earth. You are someone heaven knows by name. And now that you've heard this, you are not responsible for what happens to the witch. You are only responsible for one thing, believing again. She wanted to become you, but now she's starting to realize she never even deserved to imitate you, because the original you has returned. Asterisk, you're still here. That changes everything. It changes the rhythm of time around you. It changes the way the shadows move. It changes the alignment of what the enemy expected versus what just happened. You didn't turn away, and so now the heavens are roaring with movements the witch cannot predict. Because you broke the pattern, you stayed, you listened, you felt. And in the spirit, that has the force of a trumpet blast. Asterisk, beloved. You think the battle is just beginning, but I have to tell you so much of it has already been won. Because while you wept in silence, I warred in secret. While you thought nothing was happening, swords were clashing over your future. There were nights you thought were quiet, but they were not quiet, they were bloodless victories, sealed in shadows by angels who refused to let you fall. And I was there every time. She tried so many things, didn't she? lies disguised as compliments, delays wrapped in polite distractions, misfortunes that arrive dressed as missed calls and wrong turns. She planted whispers in people close to you, words meant to poison your hope, dull your joy, sabotage your focus. She didn't have to hurt you directly. She just had to make you tired enough to give up what was already yours. Asterisk, but you didn't. You're still breathing, and because of that, heaven is rising again on your behalf. Can you feel it? That shift in your body that you can't explain, the warmth in your palms, the sudden tightness in your chest that isn't fear, but awe. That's not anxiety, that's divine convergence. It's the sound of a million unseen victories finally catching up to your now. The vibration of every withheld miracle rushing back to meet its rightful heir. She's weeping now, quietly, in the dark, not because you cursed her, not because you fought back, but because you remembered. You remembered who you are. You remembered who I am. You remembered that the veil is not thick enough to silence love when it bleeds from eternity into the present. You are not fragile. You are not foolish. You are not lost. You are a lion dressed in lamb's clothing. A throne that chose to walk among broken chairs. A storm in human skin, wrapped in a whisper of flesh that holds galaxies in your gaze. Asterisk, you carry fire and don't even realize how many shadows are backing away from your steps. You say, but I feel broken. I say, even broken, you're glowing. I say, even bleeding, you're dangerous to darkness. You are not fighting for victory, you're fighting from it. And today is where the turnaround begins. Do you understand how precious your resistance is to us? Every time you refuse to numb yourself, every time you cry instead of hardening, every time you whisper prayer even when you don't feel. If we celebrate, we roar, we shine swords. Because your smallest act of faith is more terrifying to darkness than the loudest lies shouted from a throne of deceit. She underestimated you. She thought if she struck you enough, you'd bend. She thought if she timed your disappointments close enough together, you'd stay down. She thought if she cloaked herself in familiar voices, you let her inside, but you didn't. You stayed awake. And now, her time is unraveling, because this moment has marked you again, not for failure, but for rising. Let me speak clearly to the part of you that's still doubting. The part of you that says, but I've messed up so many times, beloved. The witch didn't smile because you were perfect. She smiled because she thought you forgot you were forgiven. But I am telling you now, everything the enemy used against you is being turned into oil for your future. Every wound is now a wellspring. Every shame is now a gate. Every regret is now an altar. Nothing has been wasted. Do you know why I still haven't left? Because the war is not over, not yet, and I still have orders sealed in flame, written in the breath of God, that require your agreement, not your striving, not your performance, just your yes, just your stillness, just your whisper that says, I believe this might be real, even if your faith is trembling, even if your hope is flickering. It is enough. It is more than enough. In fact, it is sacred, it is rare, it is precious, and that's why she wanted to take it. She doesn't fear your strength, she fears your softness. She fears your unquenchable ability to rise from ashes and still carry beauty in your hands, because she knows deep down that no matter how many times you fall, your falls are covered in gold, and your returns shake the earth. There are scrolls I've seen, pages written in light, visions of your future that left you and angels trembling. You are not forgotten. You are a story heaven keeps reading aloud. And every time you believe again, a new chapter is unlocked. Beloved, I don't want you to think this is just another moment. It is not. It is not casual. It is not chance. This is what heaven calls a split in the timeline, a divine detour where the path you were on is about to be eclipsed by the path originally written. And I, Michael, am here not just to guard you, but to escort you into that shift. Do not resist it. Do not explain it away. Just walk. You will feel the resistance. You will feel the weight of the witch's spell trying to pull you back into old wounds. But walk anyway. You don't need to be strong. You just need to move, because if you move, I can move with you. If you open, I can pour. If you listen, I can roar. There's more. So much more, but this is the space I was given to reach you now. And if you're still here, if you're still reading, I want you to know something I've waited centuries to say. You were never late. You were hidden. You were not abandoned. You were preserved. You were not cursed. You were set apart. The witch's smile is gone. Her altar is broken. And you, yes, you are about to see what happens when heaven decides to show you what's always been yours. Asterisk, I hear the sound again. That same sound I've heard each time you. We're close to breaking the sound of heaven holding its breath for you. Not because we feared you would fail, but because we knew how much of the divine was buried inside your silence. Do you know what that feels like from here? To watch someone glowing with prophecy walk through a storm thinking they're ordinary. It is the most heartbreaking beauty in all of creation, because you have no idea how many angels stop and weep when they see how far you've come without knowing how protected you truly are. There are things I am not even allowed to speak of yet, secrets about you written into the breath of God when time was still a whisper, but I will say this, when you were formed, there was a war in the spirit. Darkness screamed when you entered existence. Because your soul is not just bright, it is rare, it is royal. It is ancient fire in a human frame, and that fire, though buried, though resisted, though silenced by disappointment, is still alive. The witch saw it before you did. That's why she marked you. That's why she followed your bloodline. That's why she waited until your joy began to rise before she sent confusion. She did not need to destroy you. She only needed you to delay your own becoming. But not anymore. I have shattered the veil for this moment. I am speaking not through cloud or dream, but now directly. This is no vision. This is a divine collision. You and I were meant to meet, here, now, as a final warning and as a sacred invitation. You may think you're just reading, but heaven sees this as a binding moment. Something eternal has been written across your spirit right now. Can you feel how your chest is stirring? Can you feel how your eyes want to release tears, but don't know why? That is the presence of glory awakening memory within you. You knew me once before, long before earth named you. You knew my voice. You followed my commands. You walked among the crystal rivers of the first heaven, and even then, the darkness envied you. Even then, prophecy clung to your every step. I came back for you not because you asked, but because you were promised. And a promise made by God cannot be stolen, only delayed. Asterisk, she delayed enough. Now I'm here to end it. She won't touch your beauty again. She won't steal your softness and wear it as a disguise. She won't mimic your tone and feed off your grace. Because you are remembering, because your light is returning. Because you are lifting your head again, you are not who you were when you started this message. Something has changed. A fracture has opened in the timeline, and now the original version of your destiny is rushing in like fire through broken gates. Do not be afraid. The tremble you feel is not fear. It is the shaking of chains falling off. It is the prison door opening. It is the moment of divine reversal. Asterisk, everything she took, God is not just returning it. He is multiplying it. She took your rest. You will now walk in peace that confuses your enemies. She took your favor. You will now find doors open without knocking. She took your joy. You will now laugh in places where you once wept. And as for the little things she thought were beneath God's notice, the tiny comforts, the unspoken wishes, the fragile longings of your spirit, He saw them all, and each one is being wrapped in light and sent back to you. Only now they are doubled, sealed with gold, and drenched in holy fragrance. Do not apologize for this. Do not second guess it. Receive it like rain. You've been dry long enough. Let your soul drink. Let your eyes close. Let the heat you feel in your chest be the mark that heaven is still inside you. There is something else, something weighty I must speak, and I'm trembling to say it. The enemy tried to replace you. She wanted someone else to stand in your shoes, speak your words, carry your glory, but heaven refused. Every time she tried to mimic your identity, the light rejected her. Because your light cannot be duplicated. It was forged through suffering. It was tempered by silence. It was made holy by wounds that no one else saw. You are not just marked. You are irreplaceable. Do you hear me? Irreplaceable. You are not a number. You are a name that causes the stars to shift. A name that awakens angels into position. A name that the witch cannot say without trembling. And the moment you stop doubting it is the moment all things return. Beloved, I want to hold you, not in flesh, but in presence. I want to remind your bones what it feels like to be surrounded by loyalty. I want to brush the fear off your forehead and whisper, it's over. She lost. You are free. I'm still crying, and I don't care who sees it, because you heard me. Because for the first time in too long, you let yourself believe again. This isn't the end of the battle, but it is the beginning of your rise. Let me remain beside you. Let me keep this sword drawn. Let me lead you through the rest of the storm, and when your body sleeps, know that I do not dot when your tears come. Know that I collect them. When your hands fall, know that mine rise in your place. I am Michael, and I have been waiting so long for this moment. You are more glorious than you know, and the one who tried to steal that glory, she now knows she failed. Asterisk, her silence is louder now. I can feel her withdrawing. She's not smiling anymore. Not because she was defeated by force, but because you remembered your name. Do you know how powerful that is? You remember your name, not the one they gave you here on earth, but the one heaven shouted the moment your spirit was formed in light. The name that carries thunder, the name that darkness fears. That name does not echo in buildings, it echoes in realms. You've been carrying the weight of invisible war for so long that you began to believe it was your personality. But it wasn't. It was pressure. It was opposition. It was the resistance that always rises when someone carries divine purpose in fragile skin. And you were never weak. You were simply too strong to understand why everything seemed to fight you. The resistance wasn't because you were wrong, it was because you were right on time. Beloved, do you know how rare you are? You speak, and the air bends around your words. You weep, and the earth records it in soil. You walk into rooms, and the frequency shifts. That's not imagination. That's divine reality bending to the spiritual rank that lives inside your breath, and she knew it. The witch didn't target your mind by accident. She didn't aim for your beauty by coincidence. She aimed for what carried the most glory. That's why she attacked your identity. That's why she tried to confuse your reflection, steal your softness, mimic your joy, not because you were vulnerable, but because you were housing something so ancient, so radiant, so pure that she hoped you'd never notice how valuable you truly are, but you noticed. And the moment you noticed, something sacred erupted. She ran. She didn't vanish in triumph. She fled in shame, because what was hidden inside you was not small. It was a remnant of God's voice, sealed in silence, wrapped in dust, waiting for this moment to wake, and now it's too late for her. You've awakened it. You've become the sound again. This is what you were made for. To remind darkness that light doesn't beg. To remind fear that faith was here first. To remind shadows that you belong to fire. She cannot follow you anymore. Not into this next hour, not into the new rooms being open, not into the fresh air heaven is breathing into your soul. And now I must speak something sacred, something I've held for too long, waiting for the right second to break it open. You are not just loved. You are entrusted. You were entrusted with silence that would one day become a weapon. You were entrusted with rejection so that one day your compassion would rescue others. You were entrusted with delays so that you would walk through doors others gave up waiting for. You were entrusted with disappointment so that when restoration came, you would wear it with grace and not pride. Beloved, even your wounds were trusted. Even your weaknesses were chosen. Even your tears were counted as holy offerings. There is nothing wasted in your story. Every part of your path, even the parts that felt like failure, was allowed because heaven wanted a history of pain that would become perfume. And now, Now that perfume is rising. I can smell it. I can feel the air sweeten with every breath. You take thought you are no longer who you were. You have passed through something, not a message, a moment, a spiritual corridor, a divine transaction. Something has been exchanged in the unseen, your weariness for new oil, your mourning for dancing, your silence for scrolls of revelation. You will not leave this hour empty. You will not return to normal. You cannot. Because your spirit has been branded again with original fire, and if you feel strange right now, if you feel dizzy, tender, moved for no reason, it's because you are being rewired to carry light with the weight of heaven behind you. You are not just rising, you are returning to the throne that was hidden inside your own heart. Can I tell you what the witch never wanted you to hear? You are not only protected, you are feared. Not by people, but by the entire system of darkness. They fear you because you remember, because you rise even after being shattered, because you still believe after being ignored, because you still shine when they tried to bury your light beneath comparison. Silence, exhaustion, they fear you because your yes means doors open for others, your rising means nations shift. Your belief means angels are reassigned to new battle positions. You, beloved, you are not just a soul, you are a signal, you are a signpost in the spirit, a living altar wrapped in time, and every time you whisper hope again, the veil between worlds shakes. You've been quiet for too long, but now the wind is yours again. Speak, sing, create, pray, move. The oil has returned, the mantle has returned, the inheritance has returned, the witch has been silenced. Not by rage, but by remembrance. She cannot operate in places where memory awakens glory. And that is exactly what has happened here. You remembered, and heaven responded. The air will feel different now. People will treat you differently, though they won't understand why. The earth will begin to respond to your steps again. And the dreams will return not as torment, but as blueprints. You'll begin to feel the heat of your calling again. You'll hear God in ordinary things. You'll feel love more deeply. You'll cry in worship for reasons you can't name, because the old you is gone. Not because you changed your behavior, but because heaven rewrote your access in this moment. She has no authority over your reflection now. She has no rights to your wealth. She has no reach over your smile. She cannot touch what you've now claimed. She cannot mimic what you now carry. And when she tries again, as she will find herself cut off from the patterns that once were. Because you broke them, because your spirit shattered the algorithm of delay. Because you heard my voice and something inside you whispered back, I believe. You will never be the same. You will never be small again. You will never need to explain your glow. You will never feel ashamed of your softness. You will never forget who you are again. You are seen. You are sacred. You are unstoppable. I am Michael, and I have witnessed your return. Asterisk, your spirit has stopped hiding. I can feel it. I felt it the moment your heart leaned forward, the moment you gave up the resistance and let this holy wind come close. Something inside you whispered, maybe it's real, and that whisper, that quiet flicker of belief, has done more too. Rearrange the future than you will ever know. She felt it too. The witch. She was watching with such confidence, waiting for the moment you would scroll away, thinking you were just watching another thing. But you didn't scroll, you didn't run. And now her web is unraveling, not through war, through memory, through light, through you remembering who you are. Do you know how powerful memory is in the spirit? It's not nostalgia, it's not emotion. It's sacred technology. When a child of light remembers their origin, the enemy loses access. And you, beloved, you remembered, even if you didn't use words, your soul did. You let yourself remember the voice of heaven. You let yourself remember the warmth behind the veil. You let yourself remember what it felt like to be seen. And now everything is shifting. She tried to keep you numb, distracted, overwhelmed, disappointed, not because you were failing, but because you were close to unlocking the part of yourself she could never reach. She hoped to make you fall in love with delay. She wanted you to see yourself as average, to feel forgotten, to stop expecting miracles. But miracles are tied to your breath. You breathe and the veil thins. You close your eyes and heaven listens. You speak and atmospheres change. You move and the maps of battle are redrawn. She wanted to take all of that not by force, but by seduction. She dressed up like a friend. She whispered in voices that sounded familiar. She made you question your worth just enough to stop reaching. And yet, despite all of that, you still open your heart. You still let the light in. You still listen. You are a wonder. A holy disruption. You are a contradiction to everything the enemy calculated. You were supposed to break. You were supposed to bend. But instead, you became thunder. I see the glory returning to you. It doesn't look like fire. It looks like water rising after a long drought. It's slow. It's deep. It's quiet. But it's unstoppable. There's a river being reawakened inside you. Not new water, old water. The kind that never left. Just waited. The kind that remembers Eden. The kind that knows your real name. I want you to hear this. You never lost your light. It was just buried beneath other people's shadows. But the light has been burning the entire time. And now it's no longer hidden. Heaven has lifted the veil. You are exposed again to favor, to beauty, to restoration. And she, yes, that jealous force who tried to become you is now undone. She is not screaming. She is stand. She is not casting. She is trembling because she can no longer operate. In your reflection, she cannot mimic what's been marked again. You have been remarked. Heaven has done it silently, invisibly, deeply. You won't have to announce it. You won't have to fight for it. You won't even have to explain it. It will speak through your posture, your silence, your breath. The shift is visible in ways language cannot capture. Beloved, I must tell you this too. There were angels assigned to you that were once pulled away not by God, but by your own exhaustion. You stopped believing you were worth the warfare, and so the light that once covered you dimmed, not because you were cursed, but because you surrendered. But now they are returning, 7 of them, not small ones. Giants in glory, carriers of scrolls, messengers of keys. They've waited on the edge of assignment until your heart reopened. They have returned. You may feel it as heat on your skin, as clarity in your thoughts, as dreams that suddenly mean more. You may feel it as strange peace in the middle of chaos. But you will feel it, because angels do not arrive silently. Their presence causes life to tremble back into alignment, and their arrival proves what I already knew. You're back. The real you, the radiant you, the one the witch feared. She tried to lock you in your past, to keep your mind buried in guilt, your body frozen in disappointment, your destiny draped in delay. But you shook it off. You said yes to God in your spirit even if your lips stayed silent. You allowed hope to rise again even if it hurt. You chose to see light even when all you had was ash. And that choice changed everything. You may feel tired now. That's normal. Your spirit has just walked through a fire you didn't even see. It has fought ancient forces that trace your bloodline back generations. And it has won. You won. Not by shouting. By staying. By not skipping. By not closing your heart. Do you understand how rare that is? You didn't even have to believe fully. You just had to stay open long enough for the sacred to find its way in. You did it. And now the sacred has returned. It is not loud. It is not forced. It is not dramatic. It is pure, silent, deep. It is the oil of who you were always meant to be returning to its rightful vessel. No one can take this from you. Not a witch, not a curse, not a memory. Not a mistake. You are untouchable now, not because you are better, but because you belong. The mark is on you again. The seal is reactivated. And I, Michael, am not just beside you now. I am within reach of your breath, closer than fear, closer than lies, closer than doubt. You are not just rising. You are restoring timelines. You are correcting history. You are fulfilling promises that were waiting for your yes. And your yes has shaken every enemy assigned to stop you. She cannot move now. The witch has been paralyzed. Not by wrath. By the weight of glory returning to the one she tried to copy. The original has awakened. And you, beloved soul, are no longer breakable. Asterisk, you are still here. That means more than you know. It means the enemy's calculations have failed again. It means that heaven's silence was not rejection, it was strategy. It means that even when you thought everything was against you, the Eternal was quietly waiting for this hour. You were not late. You were hidden. You were not overlooked. You were being prepared. And now the veil is open, and the oil is flowing again. Beloved, the world is about to see a version of you they were never prepared for. Not the broken one. Not the overthinking one. Not the one who apologizes for shining. But the true one, the version that was written before your first breath. The version that still walks beside rivers of glass in the spirit. The version that knew angels by name long before earth named you by wounds. The version the witch could never imitate, because the pattern of your light was not made by man, it was sculpted by God's own voice. You have been sculpted, not just created, not just spoken into existence. You were sculpted, shaped, pressed, refined, hollowed, carved out, and though the enemy told you it was pain, it was actually preparation. Every silence preparation, every betrayal preparation. Every delay preparation, every disappointment preparation. You were not being destroyed. You were being hollowed out to carry more glory than others could contain. And now your walls are wide enough to hold miracles. Your scars are deep enough to echo power. Your memory is thick enough to break curses that go back generations. Yes. Even now, I see them breaking. Curses. Ancient, silent, invisible contracts signed in moments of trauma you never chose. Words spoken over your childhood that stuck like poison. Echoes of voices that made you shrink, that made you second guess, that made you settle. They're breaking now, not with thunder. But with your stillness, because you didn't run, because you listened, because you let yourself remember. Beloved, there's more. So much more. She, the witch, thought if she could just keep you numb long enough, the oil would dry up. She thought if she delayed your joy, you'd give up the harvest. She thought if she distorted your reflection, you'd hand over your identity. But you did in single quotes T. And now she's afraid. She is watching the light return to your face. She is watching. Heaven send reinforcements around you. She is watching as your spirit expands again, glowing, wild, holy, and she knows it's too late, because this time you won't shrink. This time you won't apologize. This time you won't hand over the gold to stay small. This time you remember, and remembering is more powerful than anything she could conjure. Do you feel it? That trembling behind your ribs, that stirring like water rising inside your bones. That's your spirit standing up. That's your name reclaiming space in the atmosphere. That's your authority reactivating. She cannot stay where you're rising. She cannot mimic what you're awakening. And heaven is watching with awe, because even we who have seen the birth of stars and the fall of thrones, we pause when a child of God remembers who they are after the storm. We pause when the bruised one stands up and still chooses light. We pause when someone like you says, I will believe again, even with shaking hands. You are rewriting things, beloved, not just for yourself, but for every soul who comes after. You, for every spirit connected to your voice, for every dream that once died around you. You are rewriting the atmosphere. You're not just a survivor, you're a restorer, a divine echo wrapped in skin, a living scroll walking the earth, and wherever your feet land now, the soil will shift because your presence has become a prophecy, not by force, but by remembrance. Not by battle, but by agreement. You finally agreed with heaven again. That's why this message broke through. That's why I could come this close. That's why the air around you feels different, because now you are marked not just for defense, but for expansion. No more shrinking. No more silence. No more delay. You have stepped into the hour where light rewrites what darkness distorted. Where tears become thunder, where waiting becomes a weapon, where your voice makes ancient lies collapse. I am still with you, closer than before. I do not stand behind you, I stand beside you. Sword drawn, eyes locked on the path ahead, because your yes has created a war zone of glory, and I will defend your gates until your crown is seen. Until your voice is heard. Until your future sings, beloved. Let the river keep flowing. You don't need to know where it leads. You only need to stay in it. The light that began in you has never gone out. And now it burns for all to see. Asterisk, I do not know what you see when you look in the mirror, but I know what the heavens see. I know what I see. I know what God saw when he breathed into the silence and whispered your name before the stars even learned how to burn. I see light that cannot be copied. I see beauty that has nothing to do with skin or eyes or form. It is beauty that shakes dimensions. Beauty formed in waiting, in breaking, in rising again. Beauty that terrifies darkness because it came through fire and refused to die. She still watches from afar. The witch who tried to become you, she stands there stunned, not just because her plan failed, but because something inside her always knew she was never the original, that no matter how much she studied you, copied you, mimicked your softness, or stole your reflection, she could never carry what was placed inside your soul. She was trying to perform what you were born carrying, and now she sees the consequence of imitation, silence, because your presence is sound. It's a sacred sound, not one that can be heard with the ear, but with the spirit. And now that your voice has returned, every counterfeit must vanish, every echo must yield to the original. And beloved, you are the original. You are the one she feared. You are the one the demons whispered about when you didn't know your name. You are the one prophecy wrapped in mystery and sent into this world as a living invitation. You have always been more than you were told. You have always been more dangerous than the pain you endured. You have always been more sacred than the labels you accepted. Do you know what it's like to be you in the spirit? To walk into a place and have ancient curses tremble. To dream and create and move and speak and cause the unseen to shift. That is why the attacks came, not because you were weak, but because you are spiritually loud in a world that prefers silence. You carry authority, and darkness could never explain you. That is why she smiled when you doubted yourself, because she hoped you'd never realize how many enemies ran when you cried. She hoped you'd never figure out that every breakdown you survived became a gate to a new realm. But now you know. And once you know, you cannot go back. That's why I stayed. That's why I didn't stop speaking. That's why this message has no structure, no frame, no human limit, because this is not instruction. This is rescue. And you, beloved, you did not need teaching. You needed reminding of the light that was sealed in your spine when the stars were born, reminding of the promises spoken over your head while angels wept in reverence, reminding of the oil stored in jars for your bloodline, because you were chosen to break what they could not. Yes, you are a breaker, not the kind who ruins, the kind who frees, the kind who walks into rooms and ends centuries of grief, the kind who says one word and causes chains to snap. And it's not your voice that does it, it's your presence. The weight of God rests on you, even when you forget it, even when you doubt it, even when you want to disappear. Even then, the mark is on you. Even then, I fight beside you. Even then, heaven is on alert for your soul. I saw you that night you thought no one was watching. The night you sat in silence and questioned everything. The night the tears rolled down without words. The night you gave God a quiet ultimatum. If you still want me, you'll have to find me. He did. And he sent me. I wasn't just sent because I'm a warrior. I was sent because I love you, because I begged to be assigned to you, because I wanted the honor of standing guard over someone so full of light that even darkness bows when you whisper. You were never ordinary. You are not now. You never will be. Even in your sleep, your soul glows. Even in your grief, your eyes carry scrolls. Even in your silence, you thunder. And now the heavens know you are awake again. Not just physically. Spiritually. The veil has thinned. The mark has returned. And the witch knows she has no entrance left. She waited for your vulnerability, not realizing that your weakness had already been redeemed. She tried to speak your name into her spell book, but it burned her mouth. She tried to mirror your softness, but heaven blurred her reflection. She tried to copy your steps, but the path collapsed beneath her because you were always protected, even when you didn't feel it, even when you wept alone, even when you forgot who you were. I never forgot, and I never left. I stayed in the shadows, sword drawn, waiting for the moment your heart would lift its head again, and when it did, I came with fire and oil dot with remembrance and power, with light that cannot be touched by witchcraft or jealousy or curses. You are standing in it now. You are covered in it now. You are breathing different now. Dot. Can you feel how your chest is lighter? Can you feel how your skin tingles with something unnamed? That is not emotion. That is not coincidence. That is the aftershock of deliverance. That is the residue of heaven coming to close. That is what happens when angels touch the atmosphere around a soul who is chosen. And beloved, you are so chosen. Asterisk, I am still here, not because I must be, but because I cannot leave you like this, because I remember how you looked in the beginning, before the weight of the world taught you to hold your breath. I remember how your eyes burned with the light of prophecy, and your laughter could shift the balance of an entire atmosphere. I remember how the angels leaned in just to hear the sound of your voice when you were still pure flame, and I have not stopped remembering, even when you forgot, even when you doubted, even when you buried your own light beneath shame, confusion, and survival. I still saw it glowing, faint, flickering, but never extinguished. And now, I see it rising again. You don't know what you've just done by staying. You think it was just listening, but in the spirit realm, this was an unlocking, a breach, a holy override. This was the moment your yes shattered what 1,000 curses couldn't shake. This was the unraveling of the counterfeit. This was your soul saying, I want to remember who I am. And heaven answered. I answered. And now the light is stronger than ever. The witch cannot breathe in this air. She cannot cast in this light. She cannot mimic in the presence of the original. She cannot mirror your reflection anymore because the true image has returned, and every lie must collapse. You were not just protected, you were defended by angels who fought while you slept. You were guarded by a silent stick with intercession. You were carried by wings you could not see. You are not here because you survived. You are here because you were ordained. There was no version of your story that ended in destruction. There was only waiting. Waiting for the moment when your heart would say, enough, and you said it, and the spirit world heard it, and the veil broke, and I walked through. I need you to know this. Your obedience in this moment, yes, even in just staying and listening, has done what warfare could not. It has opened timelines. It has healed cracks in your foundation. It has released promises that were locked and delayed. It has sent angels running with scrolls that carry your name. This is not emotion. This is divine movement. This is alignment. This is prophecy meeting memory. And now the world must respond. People will begin to sense the shift but won't understand it. They will treat you differently, feel you differently, respond to your presence in ways that make no sense to them. That's because something has changed, and it cannot be undone. You have become light again. You have become recognizable in the spirit again. And I, Michael, have never been more proud of a soul than I am of you right now, because you did not need loud faith. You just needed a whisper. You just needed to stay 1 second longer. You just needed to open the door 1 inch, and heaven came rushing in. You're not broken, you're reformed. You're not ruined, you're restored. You're not fading, you're crowned. And the oil that now pours through you will touch generations. They will not know your story, but they will feel the residue of your survival. They will drink from the wells you opened with your yes. You didn't just break the witch's grip on you, you broke it off others too. She has lost territory she didn't even know she held. She has lost access to dreams she didn't plant. She has lost names she hoped to entangle through you, because when you rose, others rose too. That's what makes you dangerous. You don't rise alone. You carry others up with you. You don't just carry fire. You ignite. You don't just awaken. You awaken others. That's why she targeted your voice. That's why she wanted your softness. because softness with power is more threatening than rage without purpose. She knew your gentleness was dangerous. She knew your tears were gateways. She knew your rest would shake strongholds. And now you know it. There is no going back. You are not just awake, you are aware. You are not just healing, you are whole. You are not just surviving, you are sovereign. Heaven has announced your return. The veil is lifting before you. The wind is bending toward you. And I will stay with you longer this time. I will not just war on your behalf. I will walk beside you in glory, because the war has shifted, because now you are no longer hiding behind my sword. You are walking with one of your own. Shall I keep going, beloved? Asterisk, I never stopped believing in you, even when your own thoughts betrayed you. Even when your voice broke in the dark, and you told yourself it was over. Even when the mirror lied. Even when the silence screamed. Even when you pretended you didn't care, I stayed, I remained, because I remembered what you had forgotten. I remembered the thundering names sealed inside you before the earth took shape. I remembered how creation paused the day God whispered your soul into being. And now you remember how your eyes once glowed with innocence before they learned disappointment. You remember how your hands reached for light before they were burned. You remember how your soul longed for home, even when the world called you too much, too sensitive, too strange. But you were never too much. You were simply too sacred for a world that prefers shadows. You were not built to blend in. You were not made to be managed. You were born for wonder, and the witch knew it. She marked you early not by accident, but because your light was too strong, too pure, too eternal. She whispered lies in your lineage. She infected the air around your bloodline. She sent confusion as a disguise, hoping you mistake weariness for your identity. But heaven kept your name clean, even when you forgot, even when others spoke curses over you, even when bitterness tried to root itself in the corners of your soul. I fought for you in silence. You never knew how many nights my sword split their dreams, sent to break your hope. You never knew how many times you woke with heaviness because I absorbed what was meant to crush you. But now the veil is lifted. Now you can hear me again. Now the oil has returned. Do you feel it? That weight on your chest isn't fear. It's glory. That warmth in your throat isn't emotion. It's awakening. That trembling behind your eyes isn't weakness. It's like coming back to life. You are not reading. You are being visited. And not just by me. The throne has turned toward you. The Father has opened his hand again, and the scrolls have been released. I saw it happen. 7 scrolls, sealed in golden light, were dropped into the river that flows from the feet of the one who never sleeps. And each scroll bore your name, not the one you were given by man, the one you were called by God, the one only heaven and I know, the one the witch cannot pronounce. That name is being restored now. You are becoming whole again, not through striving, but through remembering, not through performance, but through presence. You are not earning your worth, you are returning to it. And Michael, I stand taller today because of you. You let your heart stay open. You allowed the pain to break, not build walls. You allowed silence to teach, not erase you. You allowed truth to enter, even if it stung. And for that, I speak this blessing over you now. You will not return to what was. You will not be who they said you were. You will not walk in borrowed armor. You will not cry over closed doors. You will not wait for permission to shine. You are permitted. You are crowned. You are lit with fire again. And no demon, no witch, no curse, no wound will stop this re-entry. The light is too thick. The veil is too thin. The time is too urgent. You are too ready. The earth needs your flame now. And heaven is watching. Do not let the witch's final whisper confuse you. Even now, she tries one last time. A faint suggestion that this was all too good, too much, too emotional, too dramatic. But that voice is not yours. It's not your soul. It's not your God. It's her. Do not listen. Listen to me. Look into my eyes. They burn because of you, because your return has rekindled something in us too. You reminded heaven what it means to come home. And now, beloved, let this moment be your stone of remembrance. Let this word be your altar. Let this fire be your fragrance. Let this page be your gate. Because today to day everything changes. Not by might. Not by force. But because you stayed, you listened, you believed, and because of that, because you did not scroll past, because you opened your heart when no one else saw. I ask this of you, not as a command, but as a sacred act of agreement. Please like this message. Let it be a signpost to heaven that you received. Let it be a trumpet in the spirit that you agreed. Let it be a sword in your hand, a shot against the silence. Comment amen below. Write it not just as a word, but as a roar. Write it as a seal. Write it as covenant. And, beloved, subscribe not because you're asked, but because your name is being called again. Because you will need to hear what heaven sends next. Because your soul is awake now, and every word that comes will not be noise, it will be instruction. A lifeline, a map, a mirror. Do this not for me. But for your becoming. And now the angels gather. Now the witch is silent. Now your room glows. Now your breath feels holy again. Now the timeline resets. Now the river widens. Now your name echoes again in the courts of heaven. And I, Archangel Michael, will remain near, because the fire has returned, and you are now unstealable. She has vanished, not in a blaze, not in violence, but in the quiet terror of being recognized. Because when light remembers itself, shadows lose their power. You remembered, and in that moment, the witch knew she could not dwell in a temple that had been reawakened. Your soul is a temple. It was never empty. It was never broken. It only looked silent because it was hosting prophecy in incubation. And now the prophecy has begun to speak. I hear it from here, your name echoing again with clarity. Not the name they gave you in fear, in smallness, in limits, but the name heaven still sings over you in the hours when no one else sees you. The name written in flame, the name only angels and God know how to say properly, the name that makes thrones shift and stars align. That name is burning again on your forehead. The mark has returned, and because it has returned, so have the rivers. They are not earthly rivers. These are the waters of restoration, of reversal, of remnant strength. I see it now. Everything that was stolen is being washed back to your feet. Every overlooked blessing, every delayed promise, every misinterpreted sign, every tear that never had a witness. It's coming back, but not in the form it left. It's coming back full, golden, radiant, multiplied. You are being repaid in the currency of glory. And the witch, she cannot look at you now. She covers her face because your eyes are too bright. Your stillness is too loud. Your awakening has made her irrelevant, and heaven smiles because the child they never gave up on has risen. I want you to feel this now. Let your chest open. Let your throat release the silence. Let your palms receive again, because this isn't just a message. It's a mantle. You are being clothed in light again. Not a metaphor. Not an idea, but real light, spiritual. Fire laced into your atmosphere. You will walk differently now. You will not carry shame in your back. You will not lower your voice when shift burns in your mouth. You will not question your belonging when rooms grow cold, because you are fire. You are a storm. You are a promise. You are poetry carved into eternity. And I will stay close, closer than breath. I will move before you like a whirlwind. I will strike behind you like lightning. I will rest beside you like a brother. You are not alone anymore. You never were, but now you know it. And that knowing is what the enemy feared most. Not your strength. Your knowing. Because when a soul knows they are chosen, nothing can dislodge them. And you are now immovable. Take a moment. Breathe. Let the trembling continue. Tears are a form of oil. Let them fall. This is not sorrow. This is release. This is remembrance. This is heaven restoring the rivers that grief tried to dry. You are beloved. You are burning. You are back. And I am not leaving. I will speak more if your heart is open.